How did you go from
That's a good question.
from a frat bro to a successful realtor?
What? This is Laricy Live, and I'm your host, Matt Laricy, giving you unfiltered access to the world of real estate. We cover market trends, news, and give you the honest answers that will keep you ahead of the real estate game. Laricy Live is brought to you by Zenlist. Do you want to know the secret to growing a high-volume real estate business? It's not just about generating the most leads. The key to success for Laricy's agents is providing the best client experience. We put our clients on Zenlist because we know that they're getting the modern, mobile experience they not only want, but expect from their agent in this day and age. Using Zenlist with our clients put us all together in a shared space where we could work together during the home search process, which helps us be efficient and provides our clients the VIP treatment. Sign up for Zenlist using code LARICYLIVE, no spaces, all lowercase, to save $240 on your first year's subscription. Laricy Live is also brought to you by Lincoln Title. Lincoln Title is the best and most efficient title company in Chicago and the best place to close your property. So today we are here talking about the third annual Ask Matt Anything podcast. We brought back the two people that were involved last time, Catherine Holbrook and Jamie Price.
Jamie Daly.
Now known as Jamie Daly. They've both been here the longest. I think Catherine's been with me for about 8 or 9 years.
10 years. That's one of the questions on here.
Okay.
What was my anniversary present?
Jamie's been here for 5 or 6 years.
It could be 7 years.
So they know the best. So
too.
we asked a bunch of questions. We asked all the agents to throw in some questions about what they would like to know. We asked Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all those ones. And we just copied and pasted and put them on here, and we're going to kind of chat about questions that people may have. So one of you guys go ahead and start it off. And by the way, Catherine, what's going to be your new last name now?
Healy.
So Catherine Healy.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to
You're
change
still
it?
CH.
Yeah. So my initials stay the same. I think I'm gonna hyphenate Catherine Holbrook Healy.
Okay. I wore black today, but you wore blue. I normally wear blue. Okay. All right. Good. All right. Let's
Change
go.
your name is a pain in the ass, just so you know.
Yeah. I changed my address and that sucks, so I can't even imagine.
What do we got for questions here?
Okay. Does the crime in Chicago impede your day-to-day life? I feel like people are blowing it out of proportion.
I'm assuming this is getting to the fact that, crime is up, and if you watch the news, they pretty much say that if you walk out to your car, you've got a 95% chance getting shot. I mean, no, it doesn't impede my my day-to-day. I would say that I do kind of try not to sit in my car between showings as much as maybe I would have. And I try to somewhat pay attention when I'm walking down the street now, a little bit more than I did before. But otherwise, I mean, I live my life exactly as I did pre-pandemic.
But you do think about it more often than you did.
It crosses my mind, but I wouldn't say impedes my day.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question is, any tips on how to buy a parking spot without using an agent?
I mean, just have an attorney and just talk to the person. I mean, if you get a deal going, just have your attorney drop a contract and then get a contract drawn up, and then the attorney just closes out. It's pretty straightforward.
When buying a rental property, what should you look for specifically for townhouses and condos?
Something that's going to rent easy. Every single day a property sits vacant is money out of your pocket. So you have to think to yourself, where am I going to lose the least amount of money in overhead costs? And then the second follow-up question is how ready is this to be able to rent out? Because if it takes you 2 to 4 months to be able to rent it out, that's 2 to 4 months that you lost. And if you had to overpay for something else, that maybe $5,000, the cost would equal the same. You always have to think about your bottom line.
Okay.
This is a good
This
one.
is a personal one. Who is your craziest client of all time?
Oh my God. Jesus. I mean, there's a lot of them. Listen, we have a lot of people. Real estate's a high temper, high pressure situation. Your coolest clients can turn into the biggest assholes the day of close. I mean, these things happen. I'm not going to name any names, but I think there's some people out there I think that know. And we'll just leave it at that.
Do you have any clients that ever reach out to you after and apologize for being crazy?
I haven't, but I will say there's at least 3 or 4 clients I can think off the top of my head that I would say are hands down the most difficult I've ever had. And they and we left on what I thought were bad terms. They still refer me business, and I still
so they still
work
like
with them
you.
again. Yeah.
It's a business transaction. I don't like look down on anybody. Like, I mean, I can be crazy sometimes, you know, like people get crazy.
What is your favorite part about real estate and why?
Oh, I love the highs and lows, you know? I just like that you kind of drive your own ship, you know, like you could decide who you want to be, where you want to go, and ultimately your success relies exactly on how good you are at your job. And that's a perfect job for somebody like myself because I am my biggest motivator and I like to push myself to extremes, and you know, I get rewarded if I do good, and when I do bad, I mean, I only have myself to blame.
Okay. What's your favorite childhood memory?
I don't know. I think my favorite childhood memory, I remember it was at my Grandpa Laricy's house. I was standing out front, and I think we were moving him out, and he just passed away. And my brother took my head and stuck it into a big lava rock, and my head got stuck into the rock, and then I had to actually be pulled out, and I was bleeding everywhere. And I think I got like 20 stitches.
That's your favorite.
That's my favorite memory.
Luke Laricy, call out there.
Yeah. There's no good. That's a childhood memory for me, guys. That's there's like 1,000 of those.
Favorite though? What is your dream vacation?
Oh, anything that's like Paris or Napa related. Yeah. Anything that has wine and food. I mean, listen, I like what I like. I've tried going to these vacations that everybody else wants to go to. New Orleans, Seattle, and like
Miami.
Yeah, Miami. People are like, you gotta go here. It's great. And then I go there. I'm like, we went to Miami with the kids, and like me and my wife's my mother-in-law, we walked to it, kids like milk for some reason they didn't have it at the hotel. It was supposed to be this fancy hotel. Different story. Walk across the street. I swear to God, I thought I was more scared on that walk across the street to the gas station to get milk while there was 3 guys sleeping in the convenience store, like random homeless people. And I'm like, this is what everybody likes to go to. So yeah, my point is like, I like what I like because I know I'm going to have a good time. And I'll follow up with this. The fact that I take such little time off that when I go away, I want to make sure I know I'm going to have a good time. Because the worst thing is if you don't take a day off, which you'll see someday, but when I work January 1st till July 1st straight without a single day off, if that 4 days off is bad, I would reach a breaking point.
So are you guys done traveling to new places? It's just
I mean, I'm not saying like ever, but I think like right now where I'm at in my life with the young kids and stuff like that, I think I need a little bit of consistency of like being like, I know I want to be here. Like maybe when I'm older or I can travel more often where if it misses, it's not a big deal. But like I need to make sure I'm going to have a good time.
Sounds like you have to find a happy medium between wine country and where you can bring kids.
That's why we're going to Orlando.
But they're not going to Disney.
Yeah, test run.
Okay. What's your favorite meal to cook?
Steak. I like to cook steak. It's actually pretty quick to do, and it's very satisfying. Thanksgiving dinner actually. Let's back that up. Favorite meal, Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
The big show.
With the menu and everything.
Yeah.
What is your best advice for a new agent starting?
Find somebody to go work for that knows what they're doing, and then realizing that you're not going to make any money for 4 years. Too many agents get in the business because they want to do it for money, and then they don't make any money, and then they get out of the business. Or too many people get into the business just solely for money. They leave a job because they think they're going to make more, and that's literally the worst, hands down, the worst reason to get in the business. 99.9% of realtors I talk to don't know a goddamn thing about the business, and it drives me absolutely bonkers. And that's why if anybody out there is like, oh, that Matt Laricy can be an asshole, it's like probably because you didn't know what you were doing, and then people blame you, right? Is that not what happens? Mm-hmm. Something we just lost a deal the other day. The other person messed up, okay, told us the wrong information. Now we lose the deal, and then it costs us money, and then we ultimately lose the client, and it's that person's fault. And that person just stole money out of your pocket because they didn't do their job. Yeah, I'm going to light that person up, 100%.
Yeah.
So learn the job. Just understand what the job is.
Light them up.
Do you think your kids will get into real estate?
I think so. I do.
All 3?
All 3. I don't really watch the TV show Succession that much, but I kind of picture I think we could kind of be like that family.
Do you think it is easy to get into real estate?
Oh my God, it's the easiest job in the world, right?
But is it easy to be successful?
Is it easy to get into real estate? Yeah, you go online, you click on a couple buttons, it produces a license, and then you're a realtor. Is it easy to be successful in real estate? No. I mean, just look at the top. There's a top 200 standings that comes out. Just look at it. Like the top 5, like crush it. Then like the 5 to 10's like they're good. 10 to 20's like really good, and then it's just like huge drop off. So yeah, you got 20 to 50 people in the city that are like really, really good, and then you got 46,000 other agents that don't do any business.
Okay. Would you recommend buildings that have a 10 to 30 unit rental cap? If so, what would you say the ideal cap would be to protect the building value?
I don't know what a 10 to 30 unit rental cap would be. I deal off of percentages daily. But I
Probably
will
like 10
10
to 30,
out of
like
30
10 to 30%.
Oh, like a 10%. Okay. Actually, I feel like a
30%.
20%. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. All right, we're not doing math here, guys. We're throwing numbers around here. I would say that like if I was going to put a rental cap in place, I would do it at 50% and nothing less. The reality is that the majority of people that think they want to be landlords won't be landlords, and if they do become landlords, they sell almost a million. How many people do we have? They're like, hey, I'm renting the place out. We're like, okay, great. And then like 8 months later, like, hey, I rented it for a year. I'm not cut out for this. Like, I got too much going on. Like, can you sell it? So like the reality is put it at 50%, so not too many people rent out in the building, and ultimately give people the illusion that they'll be able to rent out in the future, but people aren't going to be landlords.
Yeah. What improvements do you think are the best and worst ideas for resale?
Kitchen and baths, master bath, kitchen are going to give you the most return because that's what people look for. Worst return is doing something stupid that maybe not everybody else is going to like, So I don't want to be offensive when people, here's a perfect example, build a wine room, right? Like that's stupid. Like I did it for me, but I can't expect somebody to pay me dollar for dollar back because I spent 50 grand building out a wine cellar, right? Like that's the problem is that people do something that they really like. And then when they go around and sell it, they're like, well, I want somebody to pay me the same money back. It's like, enjoy the stuff that's more personal to you. The stuff that is not as personal, just know that like, you'll get 50 cents on a dollar back and hope for the best.
Why should I work with you versus a Redfin agent who takes less commission?
I would work with Redfin. That would be my answer to that.
Okay.
No, I mean, here's the thing, guys. It's like, we're not here to slander anybody. Like, everybody can charge different rates. You can't talk about, like, what I charge compared to somebody else does. I think everybody offers different things. That's why people can go to, you could buy a T-shirt from Louis Vuitton, okay? And you could buy a T-shirt from Kmart, and it could serve the same purpose, right? But maybe you like the Louis Vuitton shirt more than the T-shirt at Kohl's or something, right? There's different value adds that, agents that do things differently. And I think you should interview and see which type of agent and company suits your personality the best. I'm not here to tell anybody that I'm better than anybody or any company. I'm not here to talk bad about any company. I think you should always just interview heavily and see which one fits your style the best.
And kind of going off that, what do you tell buyers or sellers that ask you for like a rebate or to take money off commission? Just
we
because.
talked about that before
Yeah.
in the last podcast. I mean, I don't take money off. It actually like irritates me really badly when people ask for it because like ultimately I think we do the best job, and statistically speaking, we sold the most and we got the most reviews. So I mean, like we have stats behind like that we do a really good job. Every now and then, people not like us. Sure, it happens. I'm a human being. Not everybody's gonna like us, but it just annoys me because like the job is done, and then somebody's like, "Hey, I want some bucks back," because somebody else said it. It's like, well, yeah, if I sold the place off a lockbox, you never saw me. My people never did anything for you, and we absolutely gave zero value to this transaction. Sure, I'm sure like maybe we should have gave you money back because we didn't do anything. When we handhold you, we're meeting contracts at your place, we're letting people in and out because you don't live in state. We're doing bending over backwards. I'm actually might lose money to sell your property, and then at the end of the time, you're like, hey, I want $1,000 back. I'm like, dude, this is just it's a joke. It just and it puts me in a bad mood because it's like nobody else has a job where at the end of the day you go for your paycheck 2 weeks in and you're about to get paid from the boss. And you're like, you know what, boss? I'm not going to get paid this week. I'm actually going to give you money for letting me work.
You
here.
keep it.
Yeah, and that's the way you have to think about it. So if you're thinking about asking an agent for rebate, if they're actually doing their job, like just think about it when you're done with your job at the end of 2 weeks. Why don't you go in your pocketbook and hand your boss back money and say you work for free? I mean, ultimately, I could take, and you know what? I could take any profession there is, any profession, and I could talk about like how people make too much money or they don't do anything. 90% of my friends sit on Facebook all day. That's all they do, and they get paid, $400,000 a year to do nothing.
That's a perfect example. Actually, Brian told me his friend sent him 36 TikToks in one day.
Right.
And I was
Right.
like, how?
So like, how do you have time? I don't even have time. I literally don't have time to eat lunch 90% of the days, and like you got people who are like sitting around sharing things all day. They're like having fun. They're group chatting. They're engaging. Like there's a March Madness going on now. And like I got somehow stuck on this chain with friends that like, I mean, I'm friends with them, but like it's like, it would take me 2 days just to catch up with these conversations. I just delete it.
Yeah.
Like I'm out.
Didn't you see that there's like an Instagram of the girl that worked at Google where she like went to work, made a shake, and then she didn't do anything like all day, and then like a year later she was like, I got laid off.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, so the point of this is like, you know, if you bring value to your job, then maybe you shouldn't ask for it. That's all.
Okay. Are you having more children?
I mean, I'm not. I don't know if Nicole will. You know, I wanted 0 kids and no dogs. I got a Great Dane and 3 kids. So, you know, life is about compromise.
How did your career change when you had kids?
I mean, it didn't. I mean, I'm not trying to sound like a dick. I mean, I'm not going to win Dad of the Year. I mean, my job is to run a business. Is my passion in life. And I mean, I try to make it home for bedtime. I do, and it drives me. It does really piss me off if I can't put Remy to bed. Rowan, kid doesn't fucking sleep.
Do you cook for the kids too, like all your
No,
fancy meals?
They don't. Remy will eat anything I cook. She loves it. She likes to help out. But like Rowan is like, everything is disgusting. Like it's just like he's easy. Like I just like give him an apple or a banana, and that's all he eats.
What
He
about
doesn't
as
eat.
these kids get older, like when they have softball and cheerleading and things
Who's
that they're going to want
playing
you to go to?
Well, they get video recorded, and I'll watch them when I get home.
All right, shifting
This
a
is
little
how most
bit.
people go to games anyways. Like, have a good job. Nobody's paying attention. They're talking to people.
They're drinking with their friends.
Yeah, I'll just
Yeah.
watch the video recap. I'm like, oh, it was a good job.
Just so this is totally shifting subjects, but how would you say all these banks shutting down is going to or has affected the real estate market?
So since like probably the fall of last year, I said wait till next fall when layoffs come big and are a big thing. And I think a large part of that, I said something's going to happen in the economy. So now the banks are starting to shut down. So listen, there's just been too much money going around the world. People have been doing nothing and getting paid too much money. It sounds terrible. I look like I had a lot of people be like, well, you're the devil. Like you only care about the rich people. I don't care about the rich people. Listen, I think everybody should make money, but like I also think you should work. Like I don't think you should like my brother sits around does nothing all day and he gets paid. Like, you know, I don't think that is how life should work. And I think these banks are starting to realize that like, listen, like these profits aren't where they're supposed to be. These companies that we're lending money to aren't making any money, and we're the balance sheets don't work. Like I can't give money if no money's coming in, and they're gonna start shutting down, and that's gonna affect the economy. I mean, we're heading in towards. Some people think it's going to be like the worst recession of all time. I think that's a little dramatic. I also don't think like the economy is going to keep pumping the way it is. I think we're probably going to see a little bit of a blip on the radar, and we're going to see some layoffs, and that's going to make the market be very soft this fall.
Okay. Who complains the most on the Laricy team?
Catherine. Catherine or Matt Piazza? The two of them.
I would say it's Matt Piazza.
Matt Piazza?
By
Don't
far.
complain at all.
Matt
Oh my
Piazza
God.
sends 2-minute-long videos of him just bitching.
You know when Matt Piazza is working that day. Let's just put it that way. Like, it's just, you don't hear from the kid for 2 days, and like he's got a full schedule, and it's like heart attack season. We call him Pizza, by the way. Everybody in the group's got nicknames.
Johnny
like,
Bag of Donuts.
Yeah, Johnny Bag of Donuts.
Yeah.
Got Pizza, the Jet.
What are some tips? I don't know if you're the best person. What are some tips to keep up with the stress?
I mean, I don't get stressed out.
Yeah.
I'm not-
Don't accept this piece of advice.
Yeah.
I really don't think I get that.
Take this lightly.
I mean, people talk about like having a heart attack all the time, stuff like that. Like, I don't really think I get that stressed out. Like, stress is like we're like, it's it's not. It's a different story.
Every
Like,
day you say, I'm so
I mean,
behind.
I mean, yeah, I get behind, but like for me, it's just like getting it done. I think a lot of people get stressed, and then they know they have to do a lot of stuff, so they don't do it, and then they get really stressed even more, and then that adds up. So like by the end of the week, they're just so far behind. I get stressed and I scream about it, and then I just do what I got to do. I think that's how I deal with it. I just do what I'm supposed to do.
Just throw a tantrum.
I throw a little tantrum sometimes. I can be moody.
Moody is an understatement.
I can have a couple of bad days.
Okay, I added this one on here. Why do you hate Elk Grove Village so much?
Jamie moved to Elk Grove Village. I mean, I don't hate it. I've never been up there. I mean, the suburbs are just depressing in my mind.
All he sends me is articles about like shitting on Elk Grove Village.
I do have to say, I don't know if like the computers are listening, but ever since Jamie's moved to Elk Grove Village, like I get like the most random things like Elk Grove Village properties values are down 25% this year. Like I don't even Google this stuff; it just comes up. It just happens.
Do you think that the business will ever go to the suburbs? I mean, I know we do sell stuff in the
I
suburbs.
don't know. I mean, like part of me is like we're leaving so much money on the table by not having people out there, and the other part of me is like just the thought of like having to deal with more agents and then dealing with more questions of people in the burbs is also tough. So like, it's tough to say. I mean, I don't know if I'd ever open up a ton of offices, but I do think probably in the near future I'll probably take some agents on that work different regions. you know.
Okay. When do you think you'll ever see rates go below 5% again?
I don't know, next year maybe. I mean, the rates are dropping big time. I mean, they could be below 5% by the time we're off this. I mean, rates are plummeting right now. But I mean, the reality is we're going to be in a roller coaster rate ride, and like it's impossible for anybody to predict this. A lot of people think next year, but we'll see. What are we laughing about?
I'm not going to say that one.
What is it?
How is
the laughing one is probably the good one. What's it say?
how tall are you? Because you look short.
I'm 5'10". I'm not short. I'm an average height. Height doesn't like matter. Like I'm not like a short guy. I'm an average height person. Although my dad and his brother are 6'5", and my dad's dad was 6'5". I don't know how I'm 5'10".
Funny you say that. The next question: how is Bob Laricy doing?
I don't know. He's a different character.
I talk to Bob more than you do.
I don't talk to him that much. I every other day. The guy, we just get in fights. That's all we do.
He's like the nicest guy.
You're on fucking crack. You're on like legitimately crack.
Nice to me.
We got the windows washed. She's like, get your fat ass out there and wash the windows. It's like, what are you talking about? Like I'm not gonna sit there and wash the windows. Like
The windows washed here.
or yeah,
It's $30.
Yeah, he's like, or like
steal.
Jamie ordered like paper towels, and like he's like, you ordered paper towels? They're $1.75. I got them the other day at Jewel for $1.53. You think you're just gonna throw away 20 cents for this? It's like, Dad, it's 20 cents. It's 20 fucking cents. Just relax. Jesus Christ. That'll be like a half-hour conversation too about how I don't know how to manage money, because we're just throwing. If you're willing to throw 20 cents
tells
away
me
over a
that
paper
too.
towel, yeah. If you're willing to throw 20 cents over a paper towel, then that's it. With their fancy suits over there, the guy wears a Conan shirt. You know.
He loves to tell me about the rug that you told him was $500, and then Nicole told me it was $300.
The what?
Like he said, you bought a living room rug, and you're like, oh, this was like $500, and then Nicole was like, no, it wasn't. It was like $200.
What? I don't know the price.
He loves
He
that
like just
story.
asked like this stupid shit.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we got?
How did you meet your spouse?
At the gym, Cardinal Fitness, Palace Heights.
Who went up to who?
She approached me. Yeah.
Is that true?
She did.
Oh.
Yeah.
Um,
I was
what-
living at home.
what do you think about Paul Vallis?
We're pro Vallis. We're pro Paul Vallis here. But I mean, by the time this comes out, it might already be done. But you know, I think it's big that we own a real estate company and we need to protect our business. And the person that's running against him is very anti-real estate. He wants a, I mean, he's trying to pass a law for a mansion tax. That's going to be an extra 3% on top of any purchase above $1 million. As you know, most people who buy $1 million place in Chicago are like struggling to pay $1 million, and that's the cost of living. You add $19,000 on top of that. Like prices are going to plummet. We're going to get more millionaires leave the city. Then guess what? There's going to be less people to afford housing. Then once the kingdom falls, where do you think that money transfer is going to go to? It's going to go to hardworking people that don't have the money to pay it. Like, you got to see the bigger picture.
What about rent control too?
Terrible.
No,
It's like the worst decision in the entire world. You control rentals. Like one of the only things that Chicago has going for it over in New York is that we don't have rent control. So like we're able to attract investors. But like guys, our market is absolutely dog shit compared to any other big city in the country. Like it's terrible. We have the slowest price growth out of anybody. So if you keep implementing new rules that are going to restrict people from buying here, people won't come here. I don't think people understand that. Like, we could turn into a Detroit, like, pretty quick. Like, it's very possible that that can happen. Next question.
Why did they call you Steely in college?
It was Steel. It wasn't Steely.
Well, just the way
I thought
that
it was
you
Steel.
It's
yeah.
Steel. It's S-T-E-L-E.
Okay, steel
Yeah.
is spelled S-T-E-E-L, not with
but
an extra E.
so
at
there
the
was a
end.
guy on one of the portraits. You have all the portraits. What do they call them? You know what I'm talking about? The portraits done.
The fraternity
Oh, the
pictures.
photos?
Yeah, of all
and
the
you
people.
hang them in your frat house.
Yeah, so like there was some guy in the '80s that looked just like me, and his name was Steele, and like that just like defines.
We need to
like,
get a picture
your,
of this.
Your personality, and that was just my nickname in school.
Does your fraternity still have a house there?
I think they got kicked off campus, but now they're getting back because I get emails all the time to ask for donations.
What are your favorite buildings in Chicago and why?
I mean, there's a billion of them. I mean, I like
Billion.
I mean, well, not a billion, okay, being dramatic. You know, I like 366 Superior. That's where I live. That's why I like it. I mean, I like one Chicago. I like Regis. I like one Bennett. I like 159 Walton a lot, the Palmolive. I think that's a cool building to look at. I also really like old co-op buildings. I like the way they look. 999 Lakeshore, I think, is like one of the really cool buildings. When you walk in there, it's got a very like classic old school Chicago look to it. I mean, these aren't buildings I buy into, but you know, I like the way they look.
Who do you think will win March Madness?
I have no idea. I gotta pick my team today. I don't know.
What? You're picking your team? You're taking some personal time to pick your team?
I'll
Half
pick
day.
it later. Yeah.
Half day.
Yeah, I'll pick it later on today.
Why don't you move your family into a walk-up or single-family home?
I mean, technically speaking, your place would be bigger than an average single-family home in this city, which is 4,200 square feet. Most single-family homes in the suburbs are under 5,000 square feet, so it's like we're on the same thing. I like condo living. I mean, it's easy. I also don't have to do anything. I couldn't imagine if I had to come home after working, God knows how many
Mow the
hours.
lawn.
And then, like, go mow the lawn or shovel a...
That's
or
what you
like
get a landscaping
Yeah, but there's a lot of
company
maintenance that goes with it. I don't do anything. Yeah, sure, assessments suck, but I just don't have to do anything. I live a busy lifestyle.
What was I just...
This is Brian's question.
Can you recognize a past athlete in an agent? How could it being an athlete or on a team help in professional settings?
So I definitely can recognize past athletes sometimes, especially the ones that are like the college athletes, because like a lot of times they're super cocky and lazy. So that's how I can recognize a lot of them.
He's not going to like that.
And they just a lot of times they're the types that like were gifted athletically, and a lot of gifted athletically people that didn't make it to the pros got a lot of stuff handed to them. So I do think like a lot of the hard work drive isn't there, and I can always tell those type of people. The ones that are good are the ones that didn't make it and use the hard work that they learned as an athlete and use that to their advantage to be successful in any business. But I would say the problem I do have with those ones specifically in the very younger 24 to 26 range they were just really good at football, but they weren't like, they were just gifted, and then they just think when we have a real estate transaction that you should do everything because that's how they live their life.
I don't think that's where he was going with that question. I think he was trying to say, like, when you're an athlete, you know how to be on a team and support each other.
I mean,
But you took it to a whole nother level.
I'm being honest with the way I thought, but I mean, honestly, a lot of the athlete guys that like when it comes to the team perspective, I actually don't think that's the truth. I see a lot of more I's than we's in the athletes that I've interviewed for the thing. It's always about me. Every single time I ever talk to any athlete that wants to work here, it's always about me.
I was a 3-sport athlete.
I mean, not in college.
Yeah, not in college.
Yeah, okay. There's a difference between high school athletes and college athletes. Okay? Like we're talking about like everybody played like 10 sports in college. Like,
I'm thinking about buying an investment property. What is your opinion on buying something out of state in an area that you're not familiar with?
terrible idea. Probably the worst decision you ever make in your entire life. I'm just being honest with you. You shouldn't invest. You should never take your money, invest it in something that's unknown. If you go to, like, I'll be honest with you, like, I've been looking at investing in properties in Yountville, which is my favorite place in Napa. And I have the means to do it, but I still won't do it because I don't, like, I've been studying the market for about 2.5 to 3 years, like, really studying it. But I still don't feel comfortable enough where I could really understand it. And I'm a very conservative person. You really need, if you're going to take a huge chunk of your cash and invest it somewhere, you should know it like the back of your hand. Okay, this is your only thing. This is your bloodline. Don't just give it away. So, like, if you want to invest in an area, figure it out. Really learn it. Look at it for a good 3 to 4 years. Like, right? Things are going to go up and down. Understand where you're going to invest in and then invest. I'm not a jump, feet first in. So maybe I'm not the right person to talk to. We talked about finances last time. I'm conservative.
Okay, this is kind of a mean question. Which admin do you like the least?
Jamie. It's not close.
Jeez, no hesitation.
She just annoys me.
Which
here?
agent do you like the least?
Oh, God. Catherine, you're up there for sure. I mean, it's hard to pick just one because it depends on the day, Like some days, like people just try, like Jamie Lovano. Like if there's any big event, Jamie Lovano is definitely on my shit list. I don't know what it is. Like if I'm going, remember my birthday? I'll never forget this. My birthday, Gibson's Italian.
You're gonna tell this story.
We haven't been out to dinner, like I don't know, like in a year. So Nicole's like, we're going out to dinner. We're going to Gibson's. We go to Gibson's. We sit down. I'm just like, man, this is gonna be like I was feeling a good dinner. I was excited. I'm like, I'm gonna have the truffle pasta. Waiter goes, sorry, we don't have any truffles. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, this is terrible. I'm just like, now I'm like starting to feel like I'm gonna spiral. And then all of a sudden my phone rings. It's a seller. Like, yeah, I don't know. There's people standing out front I can see on the ring, and there's no engineers here, and they're going in through a lockbox. I'm like, who's going in on a lockbox? We don't use lockboxes. Kid put up a lockbox. Something happened to his parents. Like, my whole dinner was ruined. I spent my entire dinner standing in a hallway, texting and calling about what happened with keys. So, yeah, certain days I could hate people more than others. You just triggered me there.
Yeah. Um,
Can I buy a condo if I have student loan debt?
Yes, you just have to make sure that you talk to a lender to make sure your payments are correct. Or you can afford your payments, I should mean.
I mean, other than your usual places, actually, I don't know if we asked this one already. What is your dream vacation?
I don't really, I think I would just, actually, I will.
Australia? You want to go to Australia?
No, I don't want to go to Australia. I will say that, like, I'd like to go to south of France or south of Italy while I'm still, like, young and, like, in shape enough to get like a good picture, like, because you know when you go to people's houses and they have pictures of them
Yeah.
like in south of France, south of Italy, and they're like either like with shirts off or like something skippy. You can tell they're like in
Yeah.
shape and they're good looking at that point in their life. Like, I'm 7 years old, I probably won't live to 70, but if I was 70 and I go there, it's not the same when you go there in like late 30s, early
Yeah.
40s. So like that would probably be it. You gotta go in nice season. We can't go during busy season, so it probably won't happen in my life.
Well, but like, you could go in the summer.
Yeah, it's too busy.
Okay.
You leave. You always go for the 4th of July.
That's 5 days. Or 4 days. It's too quick.
Who took the most days off last year?
Was it you or Piazza?
It was Piazza. Thank you.
It was close.
No.
But this year somebody's getting married, so we'll see. We'll see. Marriages take up a lot of time.
That's true. And a honeymoon. So, was Lou for, I don't know how to pronounce that, Ferrigno, better than Arnold?
Lou Ferrigno. Oh, so I'm a pretty big. Arnold Schwarzenegger is probably one of my biggest idols ever.
There's a picture of him above his bed.
When no,
you really?
No.
No.
When I was a kid, though, it was. When I was a kid, my entire door was all like golden age of bodybuilders. And I worked out at Gold's, still because of him. But Arnold Schwarzenegger was hands down better than Lou Ferrigno. I like Arnold because like the guy came from literally nothing. He grew up with nothing. He used to do squats in a forest with a piece of lumber, and he became one of the most well-known people of all time. Like I think it's inspirational. God, I love Arnold. Pumping Iron, watch that. Put that on your playlist with these guys.
How did you go
That's a good question.
from a frat bro to a successful realtor?
What? Listen, I was quite the party guy in college. I ran a fraternity and did some stupid stuff. The reality is that like first off, I used to care about being popular. It was like the only thing I cared about in my life when I was in like middle school, high school, and
Were
college.
you popular?
I mean, I would say it was, yeah.
And humble.
But yeah, definitely humble. Humble is like probably the number one quality about me. But I will say is that like I always chased the popularity, like cared about what people thought about me, cared about like making sure people thought I was cool, cared about like the way people looked at me. And then when I was in college, I just thought to myself is that if I'm gonna do this, I want to go all out. And I don't want any regrets. I never want to be able to say like, oh, I wish I would have done this in school, or I wish I would have gone here, whatever. So I told myself, I mean, I personally, I think it's very self-aware quality of this, is that when I went into college, I said, don't hold back. Because when I graduate college, I want to solely take all that bottled up energy I have and pour it into the real estate business. But what I didn't want to happen, because I see this all the time when I was younger, and I see it still today, is that people, they don't go all out, and they get successful when they're 40, 45 years old. And they start, they get divorced. They start dating 4 women. They got Porsches. It's all that like kind of like midlife crisis territory, because they didn't do all that stuff when they're younger. So I took all that energy and I did it as a frat guy. And I'll tell you, if you only knew Matt Laricy as Sigma Chi Matt Laricy, I would probably say that like you probably don't look at me the greatest. I wouldn't. Like if I saw me today, I would hate me, right? But I also I buried that person away. I had that fun and I buried that in compartment.
Do you have a lot of people from college call you still to buy real estate?
I had a lot of people that bought a place without me and then use me now today to sell it, or use me now to give advice. It was like, I can't believe like you're like almost like a different person in a way, and I said when I graduated college is that that part of my life is done. Like I had my fun, and now I'm going to take that energy and instead of caring about like how people look at me as a person and care about like being popular, I said I'm not going to care if my friends don't like me, or and not that I don't like my friends, but it's like I'm not going to chase popularity. I'm going to chase success. And I think the minute I did that, I remember that happened when I was 25 years old, when I really just kind of just was like, fuck it, I got to take this and just completely give everything else up and become a different person. That's when my success happened. And I think the problem is that people don't understand, and sometimes people don't come to that realization until they're 40 or 50 or 60 years old. I was blessed enough to come to that realization at a very young age, going to college, and then really understanding 1,000% that like I have to be laser focused when I was 25. But yeah, it's a journey. I had a good time, and I have no regrets of how douchey I could be or was. But I think
Still comes out sometimes. And what you and how you say things.
well, it's like what's it, Frank the Tank? Like we don't want Frank the Tank to come back.
Yeah.
Like I could see that. somehow. But now you know what reminds me of this. I forget what movie it was, Old School or Hangover, one of those things where like they show like a bachelor party and like they show the Vegas one and they show the one guy and he's like in Napa like doing a wine tasting. They're like making fun of like that's not a bachelor party and like this. Like I always joke, like I think about that all the time. Like the old me would want the Vegas crazy whatever. The new me was more like I'd like to
Sounds awful.
have like a quick glass of wine and then go to bed early and wake up prepared and go work out. So yeah, that's how it happened. It's a long tangent about it, but I think it covers it.
That was a really long tangent. If you had to categorize busy season in what month it would be, why?
Mid-January, the end of April. We're tied to the rental cycles. Most people's leases come due end of March, April, May, first part of June. And the reality is that like I don't take any days off from now till July 1st because sometimes May and June are super busy. But this is when you make your hay. This is the best months of the year, and every single minute you have to take advantage of it. So when I have lenders or people, we're all friends, we're like, let's go grab lunch, or I mean, not that we do that, but like, I don't know.
Who do you grab lunch with?
I don't know, but like I'm saying, like
You sit here and scarf down your lunch in front of all of
yeah.
us.
Well, I mean, like, here's the thing: is like I first off, that makes me look like I'm Garfield or something. I'm not eating like bad food. I'm a healthy guy.
No,
Okay.
like a salad or
You do
PB&J.
steal Jamie's goldfish
You do.
sometimes though.
Yeah, I mean,
I actually said that to Brian today. I was like, I can't bring these pretzels because they'll be gone by the weekend.
a couple here and there if they're here. But my point is that like these are the months where we bring in almost 70% of the business, and that's when you have to take the most advantage of it. So every opportunity, every meeting, every call counts.
I think we're kind of getting to
Yeah.
all of them, but I guess what kind of appreciation and where do you see the city going in the next 3 to 5 years?
It all depends, the mayoral race has a lot to depend on it. I do think if we get the wrong guy in office, I mean, everybody bitches about Lightfoot and was pissed off that they got her in there, and everybody you talked to was like, this girl's got to go, blah, blah, but nobody did anything about it. Everybody has the opportunity now to change it. I will tell you, we're going to see a different market if we have somebody else in office. You have Johnson in office, our property values will either stay stagnant or go down. If we get Val's in office, we'll at least go up 1 to 3%. I'm not saying like I don't think Val's is the greatest human being in the world. I'm like you stuck me with two options, and one is they have everything implemented to give us negative appreciation. One has everything implemented to give us positive appreciation. It's like it's a no-brainer. But like that has a lot to do with where the city's going to go. The second part's going to be is if people go back to work. So we need more people to go back to work. The more people that go back to office, the more likelihood our city's going to become more attractive again. And the third thing is that has to do with the first issue is that like we need some sort of leadership to come in here and sell the city. I mean, guys, if you need me to do it, I'll do it. But like you need to come here and attract companies and say, hey guys, Chicago's fucking awesome. Come to Chicago. Like bring your people here. Because the more people that come to the city, the more attractive the city becomes. Okay, and guess what else that brings to, which is number 4, is tourism. We need to get tourism back up. We need the people to come to the city and be like, fuck, I love Chicago. Like you should be here. And you're like, well, what does that matter? Well, first off, it's kind of a snowball effect. Does anybody ever know of a place called Iceland? Do you guys know of Iceland?
Yeah.
Okay, you probably have a bunch of friends that go there, right? When you were in the 90s, I mean, you were born, how many people went to Iceland? How many people went to Iceland in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s? I don't think I've ever heard of it. You know what they did? Did a couple cool marketing pieces, paid a bunch of people some money to come there, take some pictures,
influencers,
right?
yeah.
Get a good. This sounds terrible. Get a good-looking girl in a bikini in that hot tub with the smoke going up, right?
Yeah.
With the mountain in the background that everybody tries to replicate on Instagram,
Yeah.
right? And then everybody's like, I'm going to Iceland or Rack or whatever it's called, Ragnar or what? I don't know what's that city called? I can't even say it.
I don't know.
Yeah, nobody can
I know
say
what
it.
you're talking
Nobody
about.
can say
I
it, but
don't
everybody
know,
wants
yeah.
to go there, right? But you know what? Guess what happened there? When the tourism went up, their economy went up.
Yeah.
There were more hotels. There was more people buying Airbnbs. There was more stuff going on. So Chicago needs to get Chicago to become cool again. And that has to do with crime. So all of these issues add up to make our city more attractive, which in return, guys, is what bumps our property values up. So when people are like, Matt, how can you predict the market? I look at all this shit. All of this stuff plays into effect of where the city is going to go. get me heated sometimes.
Woo.
It'd be nice if Chicago got like Florida. Like Florida, they don't have to pay for tolls.
Look at
The
Miami.
tourists pay
Yeah.
for their tolls.
They're running at a surplus. They have so much money they don't do it. Texas has so much money, they gave people money back. How awesome would that be? Be like, hey guys, we made too much money as a state last year. Just so you know, if you made X amount of money, you're going to be probably getting about a $5,000 to $7,000 check in the mail just because you paid too much in taxes.
Yeah.
Do you think
I don't know
Illinois would ever do that?
No, because we don't know how to run a budget. I'll tell you
No.
right now, best advice for anybody trying to run a city. This is what you do. You take the 10 smartest young mathematicians in the country. You take the 10 of them. You say, hey, we're going to put you guys up. We're going to partner with Northwestern, Booth, University of Chicago. We're going to give you a free scholarship, okay? And we're going to give you guys a math problem, which is Chicago's budget. And if you guys can figure out how to financially turn the city around, we're going to give you guys internships or jobs at Citadel and stuff like this. And you partner with these companies. So you get these kids to figure out this math problem, and then it puts us on the right path. And then these kids can start making $1 million a year. Easy way to solve a problem, right? Like that. You know how I know I'm right? There was something called the Manhattan Project. Okay, we had our backs against a wall in a war. We're going to lose a war. They put a bunch of scientists in a room. They created the atomic bomb, and guess what? We're not living under fascism, and that's how they did it. That's exactly what happened. You can laugh, but that's how it happened.
You just base everything off wars and history.
Because history is built off of wars. Okay, so like everything that happened is because this happened. This ruler got killed or whatever, and that created this.
Okay, let's.
I like history.
We're gonna wrap it up with
Okay.
like 2 more questions.
Okay.
Any tips dealing with clients that become unhappy during the buying process and want to blame you for just about everything?
I mean, everybody blames us for everything. There's no matter. First off, take your ego out of it. That's the best tip. Is don't be like me, blah blah. I will tell you right now, it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. Okay, when a client's upset, you're wrong. Just own it right away. Okay, I'm sorry this happened. Blah. Now I diffuse the situation. 'Cause now they can't yell at me because I'm not trying to deflect. I'm just automatically assuming black. Then I also turn it around a little bit and be like, you also have to remember that you're being a little ridiculous, right? Like, now I've already said that I'm wrong, but I'm also saying, like, yelling at me is not going to solve the situation, right? So screaming at me, telling me I'm a piece of shit, my kids suck, and blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not going to do anything for anybody, right? And I said this to you earlier. You said, how's my hair look? What did I say?
If you know, or if you have to ask, then
Right.
you don't think it looks good.
And I use that line all the time. Because when a client's like, well, do you think I'm being ridiculous? I'm like, well, if you got to ask.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Whatever, okay? If you got to ask, you know, right? And now I also diffuse the situation because most of the time, like, oh, now they are aware that they're being a little crazy. And then I'm just trying to use a lot of diffusers in the situation to turn around. Shit happens. It's the best thing to know about real estate. Shit's going to happen. How you're going to deal with that shit is going to determine if you're going to be a good agent or an elite agent. You want to be an elite agent, you got to be able to take a punch, and you got to be able to take that punch and use that energy to turn this situation around, to take your troops to go in the right direction. That's it.
All right. And we'll end on, from the last podcast that we did this to this one, what's the craziest story that you think has happened?
I mean, come on. I mean, I can't.
I was thinking about, remember the drunk agent?
Oh my God.
We won't say any names.
That was definitely, hands down, probably, we had an agent. What happened again? We like.
He
There
just
was
kept
several
saying he
showings
just kept saying
requested.
that he was coming, but he was drunk.
Yeah.
And then we went to his house.
Yeah, we went to this agent. We had a showing. The guy said he was showing up. He didn't show up. So then
Like 5 times.
yeah, and we had these
5
clients,
different days.
Yeah, and these clients were in from out of town, so they like wanted to see this place. So Catherine drove over there. The guy didn't show up. So then we sent Levano. So this is why now Levano that day, he was up in my books to go meet the agent, and he videos him going in there, and the agent is hammered, like blackout drunk.
Yep.
He's passed out. He's like
Crying.
yeah, crying
Can't
midway
find
through. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know where the keys were.
So then I went back the next day. Remember, he peed his
Yeah, and he peed his
pants.
pants. He peed his pants. So we couldn't find the keys. The next day, Catherine goes to pick up the keys. The guy walks out. He's got jeans on. By his area is filled with what has to be pee. Yeah.
And I honestly,
No shoes.
Like, I know that's a really poor reflection of what our industry is like. That's
Right.
not what
No,
everybody's like.
but that I think was one of the
Well,
craziest.
I mean, think about this though. If you've never done a real estate transaction in your life, and the only person you've ever met in your life was this guy that showed up hammered and peed his pants, I'd
Yeah.
say pretty much, yeah, I don't got a good taste in my mouth of what a realtor is.
Yeah.
And I want a discount.
And
Yeah.
it's just like, I feel bad for people like that. Get your life together. Like,
Yeah.
don't be texting back. At least just say, hey, I can't show it
Show
till
it.
this
But
week.
that's the problem.
And he had me show another agent.
Yeah, she showed the listing. Yeah, But so honestly though, that's when we talk about real estate. It's like that's my problem I have with the business and why I go crazy on people is that like I got to deal with this type of guy, and if we didn't get the keys, like that client
would've
might
lost-
have fired us because like you meet a person once and you may say I think Matt's great, right? But I only met him one time, and the one time he was supposed to get in the place I wanted to see the most, he made up some crazy story. They don't actually see what's happening.
Yeah.
That's why we took videos of this stuff, right? And then what am I going to do? Because I lost a client over it, I'm going to light you up over it,
Yeah.
right? Because you decided to pee your pants and get drunk, you cost me a client, you know? And like we talk about this, like you guys think, like for people out there, you think something like that doesn't happen all the time? I mean, like maybe the drunk part doesn't happen all the time, but like the crazy antics of the unprofessionalness sometimes of the business, yeah, it happens quite often.
I think
Agreed.
there's a lot of unprofessional people in this business.
A ton, because they you know, they're the waiter one day, and the
If
next
they
day decide to
only,
get a
well,
license.
yeah, but if their client or sellers, whoever only knew like how many times they've denied a showing or something, I mean, it's sad for like the clients.
What about
you
the
know?
guy that was a flight attendant when he walked in the room, the place, and then they decided to cancel the deal on site? And he told me it was worth $5 million, and then we found out the guy's a flight attendant. He was always flying out. He was always flying in a plane because he's a flight attendant. Guy from Fulton Grace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what else we good?
I think that's
No,
it. Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Well, that's it, guys. This is the third Ask Matt Anything. I don't think anybody got too crazy. You guys?
Maybe the next time I'll be very pregnant.
Yeah, Jamie's pregnant, by the way. Yeah, she's naming it Laricy as a first name.
Keys at office.
Yeah, and the middle name's Keys at the Office. So it'll be Laricy Keys at the Office Daily is going to be the name. Yeah, we a lot of going on. So next time we do Ask Matt Anything 4, Jamie will be either have a kid or a very long line, and Catherine will be married.
That's right.
Wow. All right. Thanks for listening to Literacy Live.